Yo, what's good, everybody? Today is likely to be the last roster update prediction video that we're gonna have for the rest of the season. So there's one last roster update coming, and it's the playoff roster update, and it is going to be a huge one. Last year, SDS gave us 7 new diamonds, including silver Kike Hernandez, and they gave us 10 new golds, including 2 guys that went from bronze all the way up to gold. Of course, we don't talk about diamonds that are gonna get upgraded. So Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, Yordan Alvarez, those guys are obviously gonna get upgrades, but they're not good investments. This is to make your final push to have stubs for the rest of the year. But I wanted to say that it's hard to determine exactly where these guys end up. Because it's the last roster update of the year, SDS just kind of goes crazy with the stats. They really push hard, and a lot of low golds went diamond last year. And like I said, even Kike Hernandez, who was a 78 overall, went all the way up to diamond. So I'm not going to necessarily give any specifics on where I believe that they're going to end up, or at least I'm not going to make any promises unless it's really obvious that they can't really go any higher as a gold and they can only reach diamond. So with that being said, we have 18 guys to talk about. It's gonna be a long one. Let's jump right into it. We're starting off with an easy one. It's Joe Musgrove, who has been absolutely on fire. 4.84 hits per 9, 9.0 Ks per 9, and 2.76 walks per 9 throughout these playoffs. Well, as you can see, a 78 hits per 9 number is definitely in line for an increase if he continues to get under 5 hits per 9. And 62 is really low for a guy that's getting a strikeout per inning. Joe Musgrove only needs a +2 to get to diamond. He is a lock at this point unless he has an absolute blow up in the playoffs. He's gonna get there. The next guy we're talking about is Harrison Bader, and this is kind of a wild one because he's only at an 81 overall, but he's been batting .273 with 4 home runs in the playoffs. If he continues to hit for power, you could see his power numbers are at 45 and 38. If he has another home run, SDS is going to have to give him a very strong boost. He's got that gold fielding that's keeping his card at a gold, and now even with 273 average, the contact numbers are really not there either. So though all 4 hitting stats should get some sort of boost, Harrison Bader is a real contender to make it all the way to diamond because of the way that SDS is going to pump the stats. Josh Hader is our next candidate. He went from diamond all the way down to silver. Now he's back up to high gold. Josh Hader has had a wild season, but I think he's absolutely a lock to go diamond on this update. 1.69 hits per 9 in the playoffs, 16.9 Ks per 9, and 1.69 walks per 9. So his hits per 9 is already an incredible number, but 1.69 still deserves a boost on top of 95. 16 Ks per 9 is still insane, so even that 99 number can go up. And 1.69 walks per 9 is certainly better than 56 attribute. Josh Hader is in line to get to diamond. He only needs a +2 to get there. Luis Castillo is a prime candidate to go diamond because he only needs a +1 to his overall. His stats in the playoffs: 6.9 hits per 9, 7.5 Ks per 9, and he walked absolutely nobody. Luis Castillo is no longer in the playoffs, of course, but as you can see, his walks per 9 number could get a nice increase. His hits per 9, maybe a slight bump up, and his Ks per 9 is a little better than 67 on his attribute. Luis Castillo only needs a +1 to get the diamond, and he had himself a couple really good outings. I think he's gonna get there. Here's where we start to get into a little murkier territory where I don't necessarily feel confident that Sir Anthony Dominguez is only gonna end up as a high gold. I don't want to declared that he's definitely going to get to diamond, but he's got a shot, especially if the Phillies move on and especially if Dominguez continues pitching the way that he has been. 1.92 hits per nine, 19.3 strikeouts per nine, and he's walked absolutely nobody. Sir Anthony is unbelievable right now. All three of those stats should be able to get boosted, especially the Ks per nine and walks per nine. But realistically, under 2 hits per nine, 100 on the attribute is gonna get some sort of bump as well. Lance McCullers is kind of a weird one for me to put on the list. Everybody else has much bigger sample sizes, but Lance McCullers only had 1 start. But that start was incredible. So if he can continue to pitch that way, then he should get some sort of bump up to like a mid to high gold. His stats in that one game: 3.0 hits per nine, 10.5 Ks per nine, and 3.0 walks per nine. If he can limit his walks and continue to not give up hits and to strike out batters, and Lance McCullers is going to be in a very solid position to get some sort of boost. Next on the list is Lance McCullers' teammate Alex Bregman. In the playoffs, a 3.18 average with 2 home runs and 1 double. Alex Bregman has been kind of on fire in the playoffs, and if he continues this pace, then they're going to have to boost up his hitting stats, and he should get himself to somewhere around like a mid gold. Shane Bieber's stats in the playoffs: 5.4 hits per nine, 10.1 Ks per nine, and 2.7 walks per nine. As you can tell from the hits per nine, it's only at a 75. That number should get a nice little increase. He also should get an increase to his strikeouts per nine. The walks per nine number is probably going to stay relatively the same, but Shane Bieber should get a nice little boost. It's not enough to get him to diamond. I already know that. He's not going to have any more starts because the Guardians are already out of the playoffs, but Shane Bieber could get a +1, a +2 boost to his overall. Now, the Braves are completely out of the playoffs. They only played a few games. Call me crazy, but I think Travis d'Arnaud has a very, very good chance of going diamond. If he doesn't go diamond, he's definitely going to be a high gold. Travis d'Arnaud in the playoffs, 375 average. He had 2 home runs and 3 doubles. He was electric in just a few games. Travis d'Arnaud is in line for a solid boost. Sam Hentges, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I can read you the stats. 7.1 hits per nine, 14.2 Ks per nine, and 2.84 walks per nine. Hentges was absolutely amazing in the playoffs. Those Ks per nine should get a solid boost to that 72 attribute, and 2.84 walks per nine is better than a 66 rating. Sam should get a nice little boost to a mid gold. I know you're sick of the Astros, but they've been the best team in the playoffs. Next up, we got Framber Valdez. 5.68 hits per nine, 10.7 Ks per nine, and 2.13 walks per nine. With those numbers, we should see an increase to his hits per nine attribute, his Ks per nine attribute, and his walks per nine attribute. He has been great in all 3 of those categories. Framber Valdez is supercharged for a reason. He's been absolutely dominant. Jeremy Pena is next. 333 average, 2 home runs, 3 doubles, and they're still going. There's still plenty of games to play. Jeremy Pena has been unbelievable so far. We should see some sort of increase to both his power and his contact. Jeremy Pena keeps this up, he does have a shot at even reaching diamond. And the last mid to high gold guy that we're talking about is George Kirby. The Mariners are of course out of the playoffs. He had a 6.75 hits per nine and 6.8 Ks per nine to go along with a 1.12 12 walks per 9. Now his walks per 9 stat is already at 91, so it actually probably could get a little bit of a bump up. But what we're really looking at is that hits per 9 number and that Ks per 9 number. To get 6.75 hits per 9 is certainly worthy of an increase on that 59 attribute. And even the 6.8 Ks per 9, it deserves a slight bump to his Ks per 9 attribute. George Kirby should get some sort of bump to like maybe an 82, 83. And the last 5 guys that we're talking about are guys that have the potential to go gold. First up is Eugenio Suarez, a 350 average in the playoffs with 1 home run and 2 doubles, and that's in a very small sample size. Suarez has a little bit of room to grow with that power, but he has a lot of room to grow with his contact. Eugenio Suarez should get a nice bump. He only needs +2 to get to gold. I think he'll get there. Our next potential gold is Robert Suarez. 6.42 hits per 9, 7.7 Ks per 9, and 1.28 walks per 9. He only needs a +2 boost to get up to gold. Well, his walks per 9 number is atrocious at 46. He has only 1.28 walks per 9. He should get a solid boost in that. 7.7 Ks per 9. Maybe you can give an increase to that 77 attribute, but realistically 6.42 hits per 9, even at a 97, deserves a slight increase. Robert Suarez should get the +2 to get himself to gold. Matt Olson's stats in the playoffs: a 333 average with 2 home runs, and he did it in 12 at bats. He's at a 78 overall. He only needs a +2 boost to get to gold, and a 333 average should give him a very, very good boost to his contact attributes. And the 2 home runs in 12 at bats should get him some power increase as well. I like Olson's chances of going gold. And the last 2 guys are actually bronzes that have been absolutely on fire. I could not make this video without talking about Yuli Gurriel. Yes, he is a bronze, but like I said, I went back, looked at last year's roster update, and there were 2 bronzes that made it all the way up to gold. And I think if anybody is worthy of it, it's Yuli Gurriel. A 409 batting average with 2 home runs in these playoffs. Obviously, his power numbers are terribly low, and his contact numbers are pretty bad as well. Yuli Gurriel has a lot of room to grow across the board in terms of those hitting stats, and as long as the Astros continue to do really well, then Gurriel should get the boost up to gold. At least I think so. And the other bronze that I had to put on the list is, of course, Trent Grisham, who has been, again, unbelievable in these playoffs. A 286 average, and he has 3 home runs all throughout these playoffs. Trent Grisham has a ton of room to grow on his contact numbers, and he has a pretty solid amount of space to grow in terms of his power. He needs a +6 boost to get all the way to gold, and he's been incredibly hot, and he can get at least the +6, and I believe that Grisham is in line to be a gold. So that's most likely our final roster update prediction video of the season. We will, of course, be back next year, and possibly I would drop another one if something's changed and they had some time in between when the World Series ends and when the last roster update is actually going to come out. Maybe I'll pop out a video right before then, but I don't know because we don't know SDS's schedule. If you liked this content, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It helps out tremendously, and I appreciate everybody always watching these roster update videos. It really is incredible that you guys all enjoy it, so thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it.